The foolish and the ignorant give themselves over to negligence, whereas the wise treasure mindfulness as a very precious jewel. So let us talk about mindfulness, about meditation today, as well as the continuation of our last week's program with the two resource personnel we had last time as well. But let me introduce them to you for the viewers who are with us for the first time. Let me start with Dr. Shiroma Bandara, who has come all the way from UK, and she is of course no stranger to us. She has been with us throughout the last year as well. She used to be a dentist who has had an early retirement and now practices meditation and teaches meditation. And we also have Professor Vasantha Gunaratna, Professor in Community Medicine, Head Department of Community Medicine, Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo. We welcome both of you to Dhamma Hadaya today as well. And as I told you viewers, we have been discussing last week about meditation, basically about the background of meditation and also about Samatha Bhavana. So we thought that it's ideal if we continue our discussion last time and move on to Vipassana. And may I invite Professor Vasantha Gunaratna to initiate the discussion.
Okay. We'll start like this. Samatha and Vipassana. Samatha basically is developing your concentration. When I say developing concentration, I have to be specific. Concentration means that if you look at your mind, the mind gets thoughts continuously, one after the other. You have no freedom from this torrent of thoughts, and some are good, we think good, some are quite stressful, and continuously you get this flow of thoughts. So people go on and on and on with these thoughts, stressed and very often suffering, and other times people think they are happy, but that happiness is very short. And then what happens in meditation is that you become able to reduce gradually the number of thoughts, slow down mind so that your thought process becomes slow and slow and slow and slow. Ultimately you feel little freer from this attack of thoughts from the three domains that we mentioned last week, the outer world, physical body, and the stored memory. When you become little freer from these disturbances, that opens up a completely different new, I would say, universe.
The
unknown university, okay. But it becomes known to you gradually. And what you see in this world, new world, is that how your mind works. What happens to the mind? How the mind, the thoughts can bring in the suffering, the stresses in your life. And what happens when you let go those stressful thoughts and you experience the freedom from this stress, and how you get this freedom also you will see within this new worlds within the mind. Mm-hmm. So the samatha or concentration is free from those thoughts, and that freedom you enjoy. While enjoying the freedom, you also realize a completely new different dimension within you. What myself is, breaking up myself into basically three components, and being able to look at myself from these three components and untangling the knot that has been there, unable to undo, and now you are gradually undoing it. And when you undo it, you see new things, new ways of being comfortable in mind, and then you gradually become able to realize what this individual is, how this individual is suffering. Ultimately, you find yourself the freedom from this suffering, and you realize and how you got this freedom. So this is for yourself. This is not coming through a book. This is not coming just because your teacher told you. This is not coming because it came from your clan or from your parents, and this is what you have realized, and this is first-hand information, and this is it, and you don't verify this with somebody else, but this is yours. You know 100% what you went through. And of course, in a discussion later with a person who has gone through the same process and who has experienced same level of understanding, you share similar thoughts, similar experience. Then when you share it, you just put in one or two words, then the other person knows now he is talking about this level of concentration, freedom, and he has seen what I have seen within my experience. So it becomes a conversation without a language, or very minimal amount of use of language. So the level of comfort, freedom from thoughts is named as Samatha or concentration. But the wisdom, seeing through your mind, seeing through what you are and unfolding, that is Vipassana. So the potential is enormous, leading ultimately to Nibbhana. Into that serenity, the ultimate bliss of Nibbhana, you have accrued so much of wisdom, so much of skill of analyzing your own mind, and how the mind works, how the suffering ends, how the suffering gets originated, and how you feel when this attachment becomes less and less, and how free you are. All these are part of Vipassana.
Dr. Shiroma, you can add some.
Yes, if I may say it like this, this happens in twofold ways. So if we take it like we sit in Samadhi meditation, and then we let go in the present moment, let go and go through the process of through the jhanas and then to Vipassana, and then we go letting go from there onwards. That path is called Cheto Vimukti by Buddha. But as you sit and go through this path, practicing it into a deeper and deeper level, through the day, again as I stress, through mindfulness, you have to realize a certain knowledges, certain realities of the actual world, so that you give up totally at the end. So that part is like Prajna Vimukti, and they both meet at this place of fruition, because you could and go through this process, but you say you meditate, come back and you see an object and you cling to the object, and the object gives you much suffering, or you experience feelings, tremendous diverse feelings, and your mind gets fluctuated with feelings, and the normal suffering hits you. So how do you sit and experience deeper levels of Vipassana Samadhi? But when you come out of it, and when you face the world, and when you start living day to day, moment to moment life, that something has changed in your mind. The view has totally changed, as well as you have acquired certain knowledges that will never change again, and then that cessation of suffering to that particular level would never change again. So for that to happen through mindfulness and Vipassana, through every moment, you need to crack certain knowledges.
You mean it is permanent, that it won't again?
The knowledges you acquire won't change. It's like that example I always take, a child, 5-year-old child, the mother always tells this fire is dangerous, it hurts you, it will burn you. But the child will say, okay, I won't touch it, I won't touch it. And then he read in his school books what fire is all about. And you say, yeah, I shouldn't touch it. But he's not 100% still convinced the danger of the fire. And one day he playfully puts his hand in there and he burns his fingers. That day he gets a knowledge about the fire, what it can do to your fingers, which will never change. Even if the mother, father, or the principal of the school comes and says, oh, put your hand in the fire, it's very cold, he'll never believe it, or it won't burn, it's just hot, it won't burn. He won't believe it, because that experience is so so deep and so acute and deep, and that has changed the view to that level. It will not change again. So that is how the view changes into the 4 stages of enlightenment. So there are the 16 knowledges Buddha talked about that your mind has to crack through. And Satipatthana, meaning the mindfulness in the present moment, through the Satipatthana one can actually go through this. Within us, within yourself, as well as your Kalyana Mitras who meditate with you and who discusses these meditative states with you, you know, it's so beautiful to watch how, even though there are different minds, different people, let's say different minds, and they come from different origins, backgrounds, and you meditate with. And then when they come to discussion about, not about the written Dhamma, but the meditative experiences, what they experience inside is so similar. They will go through a certain knowledge, and when that knowledge hits them, what they come and tell us is so acutely so similar. So that is so strange. We go on retreats, and when they come for Kamatahan, I go with my teachers, and we discuss the Dhamma with others. And for instance, when the Bhayatapatthana jhanas and all the extreme ups and downs, certain knowledges they go through, Nibbhana, and how they hit certain levels of depression, and it's difficult to get them raise that mind up again. And eventually they will go through Sankhara Upeksha and to Magga Phala jhanas. That has to sink together, they have to work together, and it's in that sense it's like a whole process of cause and effect, and all one has to do is to the energy, the right view, the right energy, and mindfulness. Right view, right energy, with right vision, but the energy, mindfulness, and just watch what unfolds. In that right concentration, the right wisdom, Samma Prajna, will unfold. Because in one place, Buddha has actually talked tenfold path, where Prajna and Vimukti is added to the 8-fold path. So in that right concentration comes in your seeing this anicca dukkha anatta and not reacting, and having that, this is all the time I'm talking about. This is not just in the sitting as well as whenever you are in mindfulness through the day. And that this is your little beautiful little place that's within you, experiencing this. There may be a party going on, big chaos, or some scene, something unfolding, yet you're there watching that. You can be in that and then see this passing of everything, just pass, nothing, pass, nothing there. And your Samma, the Vipassana Samadhi, which is a beautiful state to be in all the time. Vipassana Samadhi, most superior than Samatha Samadhi, because this Samatha Samadhi, these yogis at the Buddha's time went up to certain levels of absorption and not beyond that.
Up to 8 jhana?
Yes,
yeah.
and then Vipassana Samadhi hits you, and then unfolds the real wisdom and the cessation of suffering. Lots of cessation of suffering through the jhanas, no doubt about that, but it is like not so permanent when you come out of that state. The normal mundane dukkha hits you. So it is like keeping the rubber ball under the water, and it pops up. So the mindfulness and the vipassana that you see, and then that letting go, because you've seen the uselessness of everything, not because anybody says so, because you yourself saw how quickly it passes, it's so transient. So being still is so easy, so peaceful, so serene, and so just be. In certain yogis like Ajahn, main message is, what do you do for meditation? Just be. A lot of people can't just be. You sit, you watch in a waiting room, they are doing this, doing that. They have to do something, or to sanskarane, to construct. You do this, you don't do that, you close this, you open this, you do it that way, this way, that's better, this is better. If one can watch it like a Dhamma unfolding and let it unfold, good or bad, any way that it unfolds. In fact, the natural unfold can be so more profound and beautiful than your mind can ever orchestrate. One can never experience that because one never allows it to unfold. Because you're constructing all the time.
Sure.
Our houses, our environment, everything. So within that, in that present moment is dukkha, in that present moment is Nibbhana.
Yes. Now, would you like to check whether you actually can be? So maybe you have not noticed all this time, but it is high time that you check whether you can actually be. Professor Vasantha Gunaratna, do you have anything to add to what Dr. Shiroma just said?
Yes, actually, it's almost impossible to be just for a person who has not trained the mind, because the mind is untrained mind is like an animal, untrained animal. If you tie it to a post, and it becomes very violent. So is the mind. It has been trained over births and births to do something all the time, to cling on to things, and that is how the mind works. So you put a person in a waiting hall, you observe that person, he will get up and walk about and read the journal, and then watch the TV and sit down and turn, wriggle around, and then get up again. It's a continuous thing. So this is the nature of the untrained mind. What we are, we have become slaves of this untrainedness of the mind, and we drag ourselves to where the mind wants us to go. So we do various things. In fact, some people say at the end of the day, he is asking himself, why on earth I did this, I did that, and they are actually regretting for certain things that they did, but they have done it. So why is it happening that way? Now, why can't people stop and just be? And that needs a lot of training. So in this process, people do a lot of mistakes, go through a lot of harassment, go through a lot of stresses, and this is the life. And people say this is good life. In fact, they suffer and say the suffering is good. So now when you train the mind, the training will reduce the glue in the mind. The mind has a glue and it gets attached to everything around, specifically to the individual, and then because of that you cling on to everything, unable to stay still. And when you train the mind, when the concentration develops, you feel more comfortable. During vidarsana, you see what is happening to your mind, and then you will gradually start analyzing what this mind is going through, used to go through, and what the mind is going through now during meditation. And then the mind realizes that this mind is jumping into three places: outside, physical body, stored memory. and continuously like 3 blades in a fan. When it is turning fast, you don't see the blades. And so is the mind. You see the mind and you don't see where it gets attached, one after the other. When you slow it down, you will start seeing it, and then you will see that the mind gets attached. For example, now suppose somebody is traveling in a bus, and he goes past paddy fields, culverts, all these places. Those won't retain in the mind unless the traveler is a farmer. If he is a farmer, he will look at the paddy field and got the information about the paddy field and store that in the mind. Usual clerk or somebody who is traveling in the bus will not make notice of these paddy fields and all that. But suddenly he sees this beautiful pair of shoes in a showroom, and it quite immediately cling out of his mind, and that goes in, and he will contemplate. Now next week there's a wedding also, I need a good pair of shoes and all that. That gets registered. So now this comes in the meditation, if he's a meditator. Now how that mind was rather quiet right along, suddenly I saw a pair of shoes and mind clung onto it. Now the pair of shoes is in my mind, rather in the stored memory, show my inside showroom, and it pops up from time to contemplating to buy it on my way back. So now this thing is bothering the person while working during the day. This pair of shoes is popping up.
I think we all have experienced that kind of thing.
Yes.
And we get very disappointed if the pair of shoes have been sold out.
Exactly.
Suffering.
Yes, suffering.
So now during meditation, you start analyzing this. Why the mind did not paddy field, but mind picked a pair of shoes that was in the showroom. So this is how you realize that the mind is wandering. Mind is wandering not randomly. It wanders where the mind likes, and what the mind likes is what the mind had a training on before. So mind knows that beautiful pair of shoes is needed for a wedding, and beautiful pair of shoes is something that I like, already clung on to and stored in our consciousness. Now immediately it comes up and compares with what is there in the showroom. It realizes that this is something good for me to pick. That is the volition that mind takes, does, and then it gets registered. So that is outside. Inside also we try to do makeups and dye the hair, and do various beautifying the body, and you do those things also, but everybody is not doing the same thing. Some people are very fond of nail polish, others are not so interested. Some people are taking care of their hair much better than anybody else. So it depends on the person's mind. This is the makeup of the person. So makeup the person means to what things he gets attached. So when you initiate the discussion the previous week, you talk about Kamatahana.
Yes.
The Kamatahana is that when you take a particular individual, there's a difficult thing for him to let go.
Okay.
Now if he lets go, for example, take the same pair of shoes. Now he is meditating, this pair of shoes is coming to the mind. And that is his Kamatahana. At that point, letting go that will let go a lot of other things also. The minor attachments. So some people are very, very fond of their children, and when they go to meditate, very difficult to let go their children, and they say, my child was, I don't know whether the child went to the school, and all the times the thought of mine, that my child was bothering me. So letting go the child at that point is the biggest Kamatahana. So earlier when the teachers give the Kamatahana, that is the focus of meditation, the teacher discusses with the student, and then the teacher gets to know this person is attached to this more than anything else. So if he lets go that, he will let go many other things. So that is the rationale behind Kamatahana, the subject of meditation in the Vipassana meditation. So he gets the Kamatahana. That is how the Kamatahana works. So mind, what all this process, what mind learns is the fact that the mind gets attached, having very poor control, and you are slowly getting control over this with the practice. And this mind is getting attached not randomly, but to a particular place, a lot of particular places that the individual has an attachment previously. So that is the reason for suffering.
Definitely.
So when you let go, keep letting go, that you become successful. Go that once you have done that completely, you let go that difficult thing to let go, and at the same time mind gets a training not to cling on to things. So ultimately it is the mind that gets the final training to let go things in the stored memory. Not that those things vanish from the memory. They don't vanish from the memory. But the mind has learned not to cling on to those things. So if you want that memory in a particular day, consciously, with awareness, if you want to retrieve that information, you still can do it. Suppose a meditator who has experience, or say Ratan Manse, he wants to make a cup of tea, and say he knows where the sugar is, where the tea leaves is, he has to boil water, and all that are there in the stored memory. If he wants, he can pick those, but those things won't automatically pop up into the mind. So that automatic stress is not there. But the database is there, your control of the mind is there. If you want, you can retrieve it. If you don't want, it doesn't automatically pop into your mind. That is the difference.
Sure. Actually, when you talked about that Kamatahan and the stored memory, the shoes bothering your meditation, and which ultimately became your, and I got reminded of a little story that I have heard. There is two bhikkhus were given the Kamatahan of Vipassana meditation, that they had to utter the stanza called Kayavayang, and they were meditating near water, and one monk saw a frog in the water, and the Kayavayang actually became Udaka Bakang, turned into Udaka Bakang, and the other monk saw a lady who was wearing, he only saw the cloth, the bottom, and hot. And his stanza, Kayavayam, became Gatapatang. So the Kamatahang changed. Yes. So after reminding that story and listening to your discussion, ma'am, Dr. Shiroma, I would like to ask you now, when we talk about Vipassana meditation, especially about Vipassana meditation, we give basic, attention to what you call Satara Satipatthana. Can you tell us why?
Yes, this is Buddha's teaching. He has taught Ekaya no Maggo, and this is the path, and he has tried and tested it himself. And he also says, don't believe it because I say so in Kalama Sutra, or teacher or colleague say so, or it's written somewhere. Come and test it for yourself, and then you will realize the outcome and then take it on. So having said that, he had put forward this Eightfold Path and the Satipatthana for us to practice. In the Satipatthanas, of course, we know the four: Kaya-anupassana, Vedana-anupassana, Chitta-anupassana, and the Dhamma-anupassana sections. As we were discussing about the mind randomly jumping into objects of desire or objects that we like, and then we cling on to it, and then there arise suffering. And also we discussed that how difficult it is for an untrained mind to keep the mind in the present moment, be aware of that. So obviously we need all these meditations from the Satipatthana to be able to do that in the moment. So one such meditation come to my mind, what we practice as a group in our meditation groups in UK, is it was introduced by Ajahn Naib from Thailand, and we got a beautiful discussion between him and his student. In their kuti in the night, somebody had recorded it and transcribed it, and it was all about this, what we were discussing, and the trying to do certain meditations to get the hang of it, train the mind so that it doesn't, how he sees the suffering that arises because of this mind, moment to moment, asking to do certain things. So it goes like for the viewers it might be helpful, it goes like just sit where you are, wherever you are, just sit and keep sitting, and just keep the mind in the sitting posture and keep on sitting and sitting. Just, it's not kind of think of it as a meditation, just being, like we are trying to train our mind to be. So yeah, just being there. And then very honestly, truly and genuinely, what will happen, you get bored. And then what will the mind say? I want to get up. So and the others have got up and I want to now get up. My knees are aching, this is boring, I want to get up. So the tanha, now he gets up. And I say, well, we'll just see what happens. He gets up and he's standing there, not long. You stand because you want to walk, you want to go somewhere, you want to walk. So you're walking. Say you're walking and walking. Now you say, I want to come and sit now. So you come down and sit again. And now you're sitting there, sitting. Boredom hits you. Now you want to drink something. So you get up. You want to go drink. You drink. So this is what unfolds with our ignorance. We are slave to that tanha, the pull that keeps us, the intention comes to do this, do that. The tanha pulls that intention and the body reacts, the whole cause and effect process, and you keep on like a slave doing these things. So the meditation we do is we sit down until we keep sitting and this urge hits you to stand up. And then the awareness comes that the pull is that tanha is asking you to stand up, and with awareness you stand up. With now you recognize this is suffering, now I can't stay here anymore, it's so boring, so whole body is aching now. So this dukkha has hit me, this is dukkha, and now why is it dukkha? Because it wants to get up, wanting to get up as called suffering. So because the standing posture would be more sukha. So you get up, you get that transient temporary sukha, of course, you're happy now you got up, not for too long, and then dukkha hits you again, then you see the tanha pulling you to walk, and then the whole thing, the cycle of the suffering, wanting that happiness, wanting the change, then the tanha pulling it, and you are a slave and going on doing that. You keep watching that. We practice in the classes and we try to that week do it all the time through the day. And then you come back and then you get this huge wanting or the huge urge not to go with that. You start seeing this is wisdom. This is like Mara pulling you. This is a force pulling you, and you're a slave to a force that you're a human being with a mind, a strong mind, and yet you're getting pulled with this careless force, and you get a wanting to not to go with it. You feel saying, I am more than that. I have more in me, more strength to break this cycle. And then your wisdom starts working, seeing that you sit and you want to, no, let go of that tanha, and I sit for long. And then you find another truth within that as soon as you let go of that tanha to up and you are there seated down, that wanting totally goes, you can sit another hour or two. And then there's nothing there, the pull is gone. And this strange realization comes that you cannot get from a book, that you let go of that tanha and then everything is fine, and that tanha is anicca. And that dukkha is anicca. So there is dukkha coming and there is no big deal wanting to change this dukkha, because it goes. And here comes a huge passion, huge desire, huge tanha, and all the misery in the world is because of this huge tanha and my way and my wanting. And suddenly with this subtle, beautiful little meditation, your mind understands it's pulling, but it is anicca. So you're one on top of this tanha, and you just wait and watch. We know your weakness. We know you can't stay for too long, and we know you will. So you just wait and watch the tanha working in you, and you don't let it go, and then you're in peace again, wherever you are. So you again realize the Four Noble Truths within that meditation, and you're in peace, happiness, and not a slave to the tanha.
Yes.
This is one little meditation, postural meditation from Kayanupassana. This postural meditation, once again, I find when you take Kayanupassana, we rush to sit and do Anapanasati meditation. We rush to learn the Sakman Bhavana, walking meditation, and the Dhatu Manasikara, huge, profound meditations. But the postural meditation, we do a few minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and we are bored with it. So here I find that such a lot of profound truths unfold with the postural meditation, and suffering, cessation of suffering through that, which one can do and not skip over it. And it's also very easy meditation to do while you do your work, or even when you had to wait